ARCI Durban provides an exclusive rehab treatment for alcoholism and drug addiction. The only rehab in South Africa that offers a medical detox treatment. We offer a superior, evidence-based and medically cutting-edge approach to the treatment of addiction. If you have been frustrated by repeated failures at rehab recovery or are unaware that there are proven anti-craving medications that can significantly improve treatment outcomes, give us a confidential call to learn more about ARCA Durban's rehab program. Contact ARCA Durban on 078-2722-911 24 hours or call our office number 031-261-5515 and our Johannesburg number on 0622-770-911. Office number 011-656-0705.
Aesthetics is the broad term used to cover treatment for cosmetic appearances. These include treatments for scars, skin laxity, fine lines, and wrinkles.
Patients are seeking to look and feel their very best, and as such, aesthetic clinics are repositioning themselves into wellness centers to enhance the experience of feeling good.
Aesthetic medicine is defined internationally as a branch of medicine focused on satisfying the aesthetic desires and goals of patients. This speciality is primarily focused on the pathophysiology of aging skin and adheres to scientific-based procedures. Physicians practicing aesthetic medicine are trained in non-invasive treatment modalities and typically utilize combination treatments to meet the needs of the patient. Aesthetic or cosmetic medicine is focused on the provision of treatments like light-based therapies, which include hair removal, laser treatment, cosmetic injectables to reduce wrinkles, skin rejuvenation, and medical weight management, to name a few. These procedures are carried out by registered medical doctors and physicians. Cosmetic medicine is a medical discipline comprising of a range of non-surgical procedures to revise, enhance, treat, or change the appearance, color, texture, structure, or position of the cutaneous, subcutaneous tissues or associated structures using techniques which combine both the medical and aesthetic considerations for the patient. Most individuals choose aesthetic services to look their best. There are many benefits to aesthetic treatments, whether it's upgrading your skin regimen or attempting a specific procedure. It is important to understand that there's more to aesthetic treatment than just looking better, but we do concur that how we look to ourselves and others is tied directly to how we feel and our sense of self-value and confidence. When a client opts for an aesthetic treatment, they believe that they are carving time for self-improvement and care. This is known to be a great step and is said to lead to a positive snowball effect in all facets of one's life. As we know, everything we see about ourselves, inside and out, is directly linked to our worth and self-esteem.
We are here at the Star Medical Center in Durban North, attending the opening of the new treatment room. Dr. Bengali is the man who makes the magic happen. Let's meet him at work. Dr. Bengali, welcome to African Essence.
Hi, thanks you for having me here today.
Now tell me, when did your love for aesthetics begin?
Well, it actually goes quite a way back to around 2004, 2005 when I was living and working in the UK. And I actually realized that there's more to medicine than just the normal stuff that I'd learned in university. And having interacted with many people, I realized that this whole world of aesthetics is not something that's just limited to celebrities, but is actually available to everyone. And it's, at that time, a lot of the ladies were actually doing some form of aesthetic treatments. So I was quite intrigued, and I realized that if it's a upcoming and booming industry in the UK, it wouldn't be much longer before it reaches our shores. And so when I came back down to South Africa in 2006, that's when I opened up my medical practice, did a few courses in aesthetic medicine, and then it just took off from there.
And you've never looked back.
Well, definitely
Well,
something else.
congratulations on the launch of your new aesthetic room here in Durban. We just want to know, what are some of the treatments that you'll be offering?
So we've been offering a lot of the popular treatments. So anti-wrinkle or botulinum toxin injections is one of the more popular common ones. Then there's things like dermal filler. Dermal filler can be used for many areas, especially of the face, so things like your lip, your under eye. We do different types of skin peels for different skin conditions, as well as we offer solutions for fat loss. We do things like microneedling, so quite a number of medical aesthetic procedures. And because the aesthetic industry is continually expanding, we are also adding new treatments whenever they become available. And then one of our common sort of requests these days is for the intravenous drips, the vitamin drips, and that as well is something that we offer at the center.
Dr. Bengali, your job can be challenging, but I would assume also quite satisfying at the same time. You obviously have to take into consideration the mental health of your patients. Have you ever experienced a patient that might have been or become obsessed with these treatments?
So I think that's always can be a common issue, that one might feel that how far do you actually take the whole so-called aesthetic treatments. And that is why it's important to always approach every single patient from a medical aspect initially before you look at the aesthetic issues that they're concerned about or the cosmetic issues. So it's important to have an understanding between what your patient wants and actually what they need. And so that is usually done during consultation. One thing for myself, I try and ensure that natural is the way to go. And when we're doing any procedures, that we try and give you a result that is as natural as possible. And so therefore, if I feel that it might be that little step too much or too far, then that's when I have that discussion with the patient and then try and hopefully get to some common ground in our treatments and procedures.
And what is it that you find after treating some of your patients, or some of the health benefits or mental health benefits that your patients actually receive?
Well, what's interesting is that during the pandemic, when it first started and we all had to stay at home and work from home, a lot of people were afraid and wondered what is going to happen and how the whole pandemic is going to unfold. So mental health issues at that time were quite high, especially people getting depressed. And interestingly enough, the aesthetic industry started actually picking up and booming around that time. And we noticed that we were getting quite a few patients coming in seeking aesthetic treatments during the time. And I think that's because when you're doing something for yourself, it actually uplifts you. It makes you feel good. It might be something small, like maybe just a little bit of anti-wrinkle injections or having a skin peel just to, get a little bit of pampering and getting that sort of improvement in the overall skin and health of your skin and, wanting rejuvenation. And that's, for someone, something that can actually indirectly improve their mental health and make them feel a lot better about themselves.
Yes, I think it's important for any of these procedures to actually help a person when it comes to their mental space. When it comes to this aesthetic industry globally, we have different countries. Say, for example, America, there are women, well, mainly women go for this, that would do a specific surgery. It's so common there. What is it that you find our women here in South Africa opt more for?
Okay, so firstly, I'd like to correct you and say that it's not just women who seek aesthetic treatments. We have a growing male clientele as well. But it's interesting that you mentioned surgery, because actually what we do here is more non-surgical treatments. So if you look at it, the trend now, in fact, even globally, is where doctors are opting to offer their patients more a non-surgical solution if possible before putting someone under the knife. Remember, when it comes to surgery, there's a lot of factors one needs to take into account. There's patient factors, there's procedure factors, and safety is a big one of those things. So generally with surgery, the downtime is much greater, there's a risk of complications. So if someone wants a quick, we call it lunchtime procedure, where you can come in, have something done that's going to make almost an immediate impact on the way you might look without any or major safety issues, then it might be a better option than going for surgery.
Yeah, I understand completely. You mentioned some of the men that do come in.
Yes.
What are some of the procedures that men do come in for?
Well, interestingly enough, it's exactly the same as what the ladies come through for as well. So they come through for anti-wrinkle injections, they come through for skin rejuvenation, things like your vitamin drips. But I think these days there is a lot of sort of emphasis placed on how one might appear to others, and one becomes more self-aware of the way they look. And I think now that these treatments are sort of more available and more affordable, people are opting to actually, do these sort of treatments.
Yeah, and it looks like it's becoming quite a trend here in South Africa. For our clients, men and women alike, where can they contact you?
So basically, our aesthetic center is called Star Aesthetic Center. We are online. We have a website called it's www.staraesthetic.co.za. We are on Instagram and Facebook. You can follow us at Star Aesthetic Center. And we're based here in Durban North, just off Broadway. So if any clients are wanting to seek any aesthetic treatments, they're welcome to get in touch with us, and I'm sure we can assist in some way.
Dr. Bengali, thank you so much for coming onto our show and sharing with us. We wish you all of the best.
Thank you, and once again, I'm happy to be here.
I'm Felicia Samaya, and I'm at Star Aesthetic Medical Clinic at the launch of one of their treatment rooms, and I'm wishing Dr. Bengali all the best, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be seeing him soon for treatment.
Hi, my name is Alicia Bihari, and today we are at Star Aesthetics. I just want to wish Dr. Bengali a very, very hearty congratulations on his new room, and the atmosphere is amazing here today.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think welcome. We're all here. Thank you so much. Firstly, to Dr. Bengali, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I hope it is tasty and delicious. So as he said, I was on MasterChef South Africa season 4, came out top 10, didn't make it to the end, couldn't bring the title to Durban, unfortunately, but we're here nonetheless. We've got to trust the journey. So today, guys, I want to know who's had Pani Puri before. Pani Puri, yes. You had Pani Puri before, so you guys are aware that when you take it, you gotta take it like how you take a tequila shot, you know, that like the kick comes at the end, all right? So this was actually the dish I made on the first episode, which I won the challenge. So it is Pani Puri with basically chana bundis and a salmon pate. I turned it up a bit. On the show I did hake pate. And then this is a rooibos infused pani. So it's got a bit of tamarind, it's got a bit of lemon, some honey, gives it a nice kick at the end, as I said. And then here we have some cream puffs. Was supposed to be a croquembouche, but that didn't work, so we say cream puffs now, you know? Like the MasterChef kitchen, you just gotta roll with the punches. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I just wanna wish Dr. Bengali and his entire team everything of the best for this journey, that they have this amazing practice. And I spend a lot of time here in the front with all the ladies. And we, you know, so I can tell you are coming to a place where they're gonna take care of you, and everyone is just really, really cool. So thank you guys. Enjoy, please help yourselves. Who's first? My number 1 fan, you have to come first. Yeah, she knows who I am. You gonna do it? Maybe let's get Dr. Bengali to do one with you. You can come around that one. Yeah, so you're gonna take it, you're gonna pour it in.
I nearly took it like a tequila.
Yeah? And then you just put the whole thing into your mouth. Yeah, I'll pour for you. Go for it.
Cheers.
Cheers! Thank you so much.
Go for it. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, But yeah, thank you so much, guys.
And I'm a marketing student. I was here earlier to get my lips done by Dr. Bengali, and I'm very happy with them. And I'm very grateful to be at the launch tonight, at the wonderful clinic, and around all these wonderful people. And I wish the doctor all the best.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashlyn. I'm a friend of Dr. Rajiv. It's an absolute pleasure to be here this evening celebrating the launch of his new center. I often am intimidated by seeing so many beautiful people in one place, and I know because of Dr. Rajiv and the great work that he puts in, we're able to make people live their full potential by being who they're supposed to be. So join us, and wish you all the best. Dr. Rajiv and partners, I think it's an amazing endeavor, and thanks for making us proud.
I'm Zara Dokrat, socialite, influencer and model, and I'm here today at Doctor's new rooms, which look absolutely fabulous, and I wish him all the best, and I can't wait to do some future treatments with him.
Hi, I'm Nabita Ramsunder, and I'm a brand manager at Unilever. I'd just like to wish Dr. Bengali all the best on his beautiful new aesthetic practice, and I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Hi, my name is Taralyn Govender. I'm an actress, model and third-year film student. Today I'm here at the grand opening of the Star Aesthetic Center, and I just would like to wish Mr. Bengali a very good luck, and yeah, I'm very happy for him.
Simply put, aesthetics makes us happy. And on an emotional level, they elicit feelings of happiness and calm.
They connect us to our ability to reflect on and appreciate the world around us, which in turn gives us the feelings of contentment and hope.
to every special woman, whether you're a wife, mother, daughter, grandmother, sister, or friend. You are special, appreciated, and loved. The world, our homes, businesses, and communities look to you as an example of nurturing and care. You are a source of inspiration for society and to those around you. Your courage, in perfect harmony with your amazing tenderness, gives out strength and encouragement to all of those around you. Let's continue to support one another as we grow together. On behalf of the African Essence family, we would like to wish you a happy Women's Month. As we draw to a close of Women's Month, let's not negate that women need to continue to speak out against gender-based violence. Together, we need to break the silence. No matter which country we are from, domestic violence affects us all. Coming up next, a gripping story of a journey of Leslie Steiner, a survivor of domestic violence.
I'm here today to talk about a disturbing question, which has an equally disturbing answer. My topic is the secrets of domestic violence. And the question I'm going to tackle is the one question everyone always asks. Why does she stay? Why would anyone stay with a man who beats her? I'm not a psychiatrist, a social worker, or an expert in domestic violence. I'm just one woman with a story to tell. I was 22. I had just graduated from Harvard College. I'd moved to New York City for my first job as a writer and editor at 17 magazine. I had my first apartment, my first little green American Express card, and I had a very big secret. My secret was that I had this gun loaded with hollow point bullets pointed at my head by the man who I thought was my soulmate many, many times. The man who I loved more than anybody on earth held a gun to my head and threatened to kill me more times than I can even remember. I'm here to tell you the story of crazy love, a psychological trap disguised as love, one that millions of women and even a few men fall into every year. It may even be your story. I don't look like a typical domestic violence survivor. I have a BA in English from Harvard College, an MBA in marketing from Wharton Business School. I spent most of my career working for Fortune 500 companies, including Johnson & Johnson, Leo Burnett, and the Washington Post. I've been married for almost 20 years to my second husband, and we have 3 kids together. My dog is a black lab, and I drive a Honda Odyssey minivan. So my first message for you is that domestic violence happens to everyone. All races, all religions, all income and education levels. It's everywhere. And my second message is that everyone thinks domestic violence happens to women, that it's a women's issue. Not exactly. Over 85% of abusers are men. And domestic abuse happens only in intimate, interdependent, long-term relationships. In other words, in families. The last place we would want or expect to find violence, which is one reason domestic abuse is so confusing. I would have told you myself that I was the last person on earth who would stay with a man who beats me. But in fact, I was a very typical victim because of my age. I was 22. And in the United States, women ages 16 to 24 are 3 times as likely to be domestic violence victims as women of other ages. And over 500 women and girls this age are killed every year by abusive partners, boyfriends and husbands in the United States. I was also a very typical victim because I knew nothing about domestic violence, its warning signs or its patterns. I met Connor on a cold, rainy January night. He sat next to me on the New York City subway, and he started chatting me up. He told me 2 things. One was that he, too, had just graduated from an Ivy League school, and that he worked at a very impressive Wall Street bank. But what made the biggest impression on me that first meeting was that he was smart and funny, and he looked like a farm boy. He had these big cheeks, these big apple cheeks, and this wheat blonde hair, and he seemed so sweet. One of the smartest things Connor did from the very beginning was to create the illusion that I was the dominant partner in the relationship. He did this, especially at the beginning, by idolizing me. We started dating, and he loved everything about me. That I was smart, that I'd gone to Harvard, that I was passionate about helping teenage girls and my job. He wanted to know everything about my family and my childhood, my hopes and dreams. Connor believed in me as a writer and a woman in a way that no one else ever had. And he also created a magical atmosphere of trust between us by confessing his secret, which was that as a very young boy, starting at age 4, he had been savagely and repeatedly physically abused by his stepfather. And the abuse had gotten so bad that he had had to drop out of school in 8th grade, even though he was very smart. And he'd spent almost 20 years rebuilding his life, which is why that Ivy League degree and the Wall Street job and his bright, shiny future meant so much to him. If you had told me that this smart, funny, sensitive man who adored me would one day dictate whether or not I wore makeup, how short my skirts were, where I lived, what jobs I took, who my friends were, and where I spent Christmas, I would have laughed at you. Because there was not a hint of violence or control or anger in Connor at the beginning. I didn't know that the first stage in any domestic violence relationship is to seduce and charm the victim. I also didn't know that the second step is to isolate the victim. Now, Connor did not come home one day and announce, you know, hey, all this Romeo and Juliet stuff has been great, but I need to move into the next phase where I isolate you and I abuse you. So I need to get you out of this apartment where the neighbors can hear you scream and out of this city where you have friends and family and coworkers who can see the bruises. Instead, Connor came home one Friday evening and he told me that he had quit his job that day, his dream job. And he said that he had quit his job because of me, because I had made him feel so safe and loved that he didn't need to prove himself on Wall Street anymore. And he just wanted to get out of the city and away from his abusive, dysfunctional family and move to a tiny town in New England where he could start his life over with me by his side. Now, the last thing I wanted to do was leave New York and my dream job. But I thought you made sacrifices for your soulmate. So I agreed, and I quit my job, and Connor and I left Manhattan together. I had no idea I was falling into crazy love, that I was walking headfirst into a carefully laid physical, financial, and psychological trap. The next step in the domestic violence pattern is to introduce the threat of violence and see how she reacts. And here's where those guns come in. As soon as we moved to New England, you know that place where Connor was supposed to feel so safe? He bought 3 guns. He kept one in the glove compartment of our car. He kept one under the pillows on our bed. And the third one he kept in his pocket at all times. And he said that he needed those guns because of the trauma he'd experienced as a young boy. He needed them to feel protected. But those guns were really a message for me. And even though he hadn't raised a hand to me, my life was already in grave danger every minute of every day. Connor first physically attacked me 5 days before our wedding. It was 7 a.m. I still had on my nightgown. I was working on my computer trying to finish a freelance writing assignment, and I got frustrated. And Connor used my anger as an excuse to put both of his hands around my neck and to squeeze so tightly that I could not breathe or scream. And he used the chokehold to hit my head repeatedly against the wall. 5 days later, the 10 bruises on my neck had just faded, and I put on my mother's wedding dress, and I married him. Despite what had happened, I was sure we were going to live happily ever after, because I loved him, and he loved me so much. And he was very, very sorry. He had just been really stressed out by the wedding and by becoming a family with me. It was an isolated incident, and he was never going to hurt me again. It happened twice more on the honeymoon. The first time, I was driving to find a secret beach, and I got lost. And he punched me in the side of my head so hard that the other side of my head repeatedly hit the driver's side window. And then a few days later, driving home from our honeymoon, he got frustrated by traffic, and he threw a cold Big Mac in my face. Connor proceeded to beat me once or twice a week for the next 2.5 years of our marriage. I was mistaken in thinking that I was unique and alone in this situation. 1 in 3 American women experiences domestic violence or stalking at some point in her life. And the CDC reports that 15 million children are abused every year. 15 million. So actually, I was in very good company. Back to my question. Why did I stay? The answer is easy. I didn't know he was abusing me. Even though he held those loaded guns to my head, pushed me downstairs, threatened to kill our dog, pulled the key out of the car ignition as I drove down the highway, poured coffee grinds on my head as I dressed for a job interview. I never once thought of myself as a battered wife. Instead, I was a very strong woman in love with a deeply troubled man, and I was the only person on earth who could help Connor face his demons. The other question everybody asks is, why doesn't she just leave? Why didn't I walk out? I could have left any time. To me, this is the saddest and most painful question that people ask, because we victims know something you usually don't. It's incredibly dangerous to leave an abuser, because the final step in the domestic violence pattern is kill her. Over 70% of domestic violence murders happen after the victim has ended the relationship, after she's gotten out, because then the abuser has nothing left to lose. Other outcomes include long-term stalking, even after the abuser remarries, denial of financial resources, and manipulation of the family court system to terrify the victim and her children, who are regularly forced by family court judges to spend unsupervised time with the man who beat their mother. And still we ask, why doesn't she just leave? I was able to leave because of one final sadistic beating that broke through my denial. I realized that the man who I loved so much was going to kill me if I let him. So I broke the silence. I told everyone. The police, my neighbors, my friends and family, total strangers. And I'm here today because you all helped me. We tend to stereotype victims as grisly headlines, self-destructive women, damaged goods. The question, why does she stay, is code for some people for it's her fault for staying. As if victims intentionally choose to fall in love with men intent upon destroying us. But since publishing Crazy Love, I have heard hundreds of stories from men and women who also got out, who learned an invaluable life lesson from what happened, and who rebuilt lives, joyous, happy lives, as employees, wives, and mothers, lives completely free of violence. Like me, because it turns out that I'm actually a very typical domestic violence victim and a typical domestic violence survivor. I remarried a kind and gentle man. We have those 3 kids. I have that black lab, and I have that minivan. What I will never have again, ever, is a loaded gun held to my head by someone who says that he loves me. Now, right now, maybe you're thinking, wow, this is fascinating. Or, wow, how stupid was she? But this whole time, I've actually been talking about you. I promise you There are several people listening to me right now who are currently being abused, or who were abused as children, or who are abusers themselves. Abuse could be affecting your daughter, your sister, your best friend right now. I was able to end my own crazy love story by breaking the silence. I'm still breaking the silence today. It's my way of helping other victims. And it's my final request of you. Talk about what you heard here. Abuse thrives only in silence. You have the power to end domestic violence simply by shining a spotlight on it. We victims need everyone. We need every one of you to understand the secrets of domestic violence. Show abuse the light of day by talking about it with your children, your coworkers, your friends and family. Recast survivors as wonderful, lovable people with full futures. Recognize the early signs of violence and conscientiously intervene, de-escalate it, show victims a safe way out. Together, we can make our beds, our dinner tables, and our families the safe and peaceful oases they should be. Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and do join us next week again for another episode on African Essence. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, The African Essence Television Show. Goodbye and God bless.
Sell your old, damaged, or unwanted gold jewelry. Gold Bar, raising the bar in the gold industry. Better prices, safe, fast, and professional service. Contact us at 082-881-8654, Cornubia at goldbar.co.za.